Hey, thanks for joining me. Today, I'm going to offer to you a quick book brief on a classic painting book by Edgar Payne called Composition of Outdoor Painting. I happened to read a couple of times the seventh edition, and there are just some really great concepts in there that helped me quite a great deal to feel like I'm making progress and improving with my painting. We're going to cover a couple of things in less than 10 minutes. We're going to discuss the big ideas presented to the world in the book, and we're going to run through the overall structure, some notes that I jotted down, and my favorite quotes. So here are some of the big ideas. First, the most important ally in the study of painting is thinking. This is a direct quote from Edgar Payne, and it really speaks to the core of the book. And we'll get into that a little bit more, but it really speaks to the fact that a little bit of planning and a little bit of study can go a long way to help ensure increased chances of a successful painting consistently. The second big idea presented to the world in this book is that the process is the most important thing, or perhaps arguably first or second amongst equals. So it's key to have a process. You got to believe in the process. And it is something that will evolve over time, admittedly, by Edgar Payne. He goes on to state that the development of a good mindset and the impact of consistent practice will result in an increased chance of producing better paintings more consistently. Meanwhile, the picture created is not as important as the means by which it was produced. As an artist, the tendency is to think that having a process will actually wring all the creativity out of my work. That's just the natural inclination of most artists. However, it's critically important to have some sort of a process that allows some flexibility, of course. And the third big idea is that we all stand on the shoulder of giants while we seek growth as painters. This seems obvious to anybody who's studied any subject. We're always learning from the past. But observation of great paintings and the notes and the videos that are available showing us how the great painters achieve those results consistently can really help us accelerate our growth as painters. And today, more than ever, with the advent of YouTube and other video sharing platforms, we have a tremendous amount of access to free video content that can help us do this. So this really resonates with me. I'm going to go through some structure about the book and some notes that I jotted down along with some favorite quotes. Here's the basic structure. There's a preface, there's a table of contents, and it's broken up into 4 chapters. The first chapter is notes about the general approach to art. Chapter 2 covers selection and composition. Chapter 3 talks about types of composition. This might be the biggest part of the book in as far as what other artists will recognize when you bring up the topic of this great book. Chapter 4 brings about a wonderful conclusion. And I must say, while reading the book, Edgar Payne does a wonderful job of just using really clear, almost poetic language at times that really can be inspirational and drive energy and creativity and really make you want to get out and paint. I'm going to cover some notes about the book. If it isn't obvious, I think the book is rather amazing. It's both informative and inspiring, and Edgar Payne successfully describes the basic forms of composition in a way that both new and experienced painters can benefit. This is something that I've gone to time and time again, and I know other painters have as well. Painters that have had much longer careers than I have. So it's actually successfully been time tested, and it's a very valuable aspect of this book. These general forms of composition, there's about 15 of them, including the steelyard, the balance scale, the circle or the O, the S or compound curve, and some of them you can see on screen. They're almost like, if I would liken them to almost like in martial arts, the basic forms that they have are the kata and karate. or the basic positions in ballet. The intention of providing these compositional formats is to ultimately free the artist and provide more creative liberty. This is done by ultimately reducing the focus and anxiety and the use of creative energies on the basic concerns of how a painter orders the elements in their canvas, thus leaving more gas in the tank, more room to play and innovate and create beautiful paintings, and do so in a way that will reliably help us create good paintings. We'll move on to some favorite quotes. I could have easily have filled up 3 or 4 different slides, but these are my favorite from the book. I'm sure you'll find your own. Edgar Payne, in one section of the book, goes on to say, a pictorial representation is always a translation. I love this quote for many reasons, but one of which is, no two observers of nature, no two painters are going to see a scene the same way. So we essentially are translating what we see with our own eyes and our brain and trying to translate it in a way that'll resonate with other people. So it definitely is a translation process. And it's always good to be mindful of that, I guess, when we're working in the field or in the studio. A well-deserved development or a well-developed knowledge of nature is one of the most important assets in building a picture. Another quote, nature is not the least concerned with artistic attributes, although she has prior claim on the artist and insists that her qualities receive full attention. There's a lot to be read into that quote. Basically, Mother Nature is the boss when we're out in the field, especially. We can organize her elements as we see fit, but ultimately, the viewer and those folks that might be purchasers of our art, we're going to have to do a good job of translating nature's elements in a way that resonate with people. Most people have seen Mother Nature in her full glory, so ultimately we need to honor that if we're going to have paintings that resonate with people familiar with nature, at least. The last quote I jotted down, the placement of the main point of attraction in composition is important. Regardless of its location on the canvas or whether it's large or small, it needs to be balanced by its surrounding parts. This is true, and I think this speaks to the value of the compositional forms that Edgar Payne actually produced for us in this book. In each instance, it helps build a guideline or a set of guardrails for us to actually develop focus in a painting and build balance and resonance within a painting consistently at the same time. So I want to thank you for checking out my video. I'm going to try and produce some book briefs like this one related to the work that we do as painters. Hopefully you'll see it as a real easy way to get the gist of the books that I share with you, and perhaps maybe even will drive you to or motivate you to purchase them on your own. I definitely would recommend this book. It's helped me a lot in my early stages of my painting career, and I'm certain it could help you no matter where you are on your journey. So thanks again. If you want more information about me or my work or any of the other resources that I make available, please check out my website at thomasmichaelnieman.com. Thank you.